Hi, I'm David. I own and operate Country Whatnot Gardens here outside of Rochester, Indiana, which is an hour south of the Michigan state line. I grow 25 different species and varieties of bamboo, and behind me is the Macon ecotype again of our native Arundinaria gigantea. And I've brought with me today not one, but two nursery poles as a demonstration. I've talked before about the rule of thumb about the root zone, and while Macon here is a hair bit taller than 10 feet, spots of it might be 12 or 13. And these are 10-foot nursery poles. I thought this would be a good visual. And each red and white section is 1 foot. And we can see that the tallest culm in the grove is give or take 10 feet. It's 12, 13 probably in some spots back in there where there are larger culms, and allowing for perspective with the culms being the background, the center of the grove, and then the nursery poles being out here at the edge. Now, the rule of thumb is you can have live rhizomes underneath your lawn as far out from the edge of the grove as the tallest culm is high right there. Now, I know I'm a couple feet off, but this is a general visual aid. 10-foot nursery poles are all I have. So now, your tallest culm is plus 10 feet. That means your root zone around your grove is also going to be, plus 10 feet. It might be 12 or 13, which would be on out here from the end of the pole, which is here. So imagine the pole is out to here, and that pole is maybe up to here. But anyway, so the idea is that you get live roots under the lawn within that large of a swath around the entire grove, where shoots will be produced every spring. Now, as long as you keep that swath all the way around all sides of the grove, see, even back in the trees, mowed off, those roots cannot go from there to way over there. It's not going to do that. In order for your roots to jump beyond this point, you have to have green growth occurring in this swath somewhere for it to photosynthesize, to feed and sustain those roots in order for them to spread another 10 plus feet in this case. Now, of course, your larger bamboo species and varieties are going to have a larger root zone because they're taller. Just like this, that's 10 to 13 feet tall, has likewise a root system, a root zone from the edge of the grove, that large of a swath. Your bamboo species and varieties that get 20 plus feet are then, of course, going to come out, that far. And just for a visual aid to picture this, I'm going to take these two 10-foot poles and I will lay them end to end so you can picture this. Now, let's pretend this is a larger Phyllostachys species or something, like, say, Nuda or Bessetii, that gets 20 plus feet tall, or 18 to 20, perhaps. In the case of Nuda, I would say plus 20. We've had 22 feet. Now let's pretend this was Phyllostachys nuda, and it's twice the height that it is. Now, likewise, then your root zone doubles. So if you have a grove of 20-foot tall bamboo and it's got a 20-foot swath root zone all the way around it, and you get, say your grove is 30 feet in diameter, that is a 70-foot root zone that you have without a barrier. Now, of course, you could put a barrier in and contain it to that area, an HDPE root barrier, down about roughly 3 feet, give or take, into the ground, and you wouldn't have this root zone. But if you don't contain it with a barrier or a trench or something of the like, and you maintain it by mowing, then you will have live roots under the lawn, that far from a 20-foot grove. If, to say, this was twice that size. But so then your 30-foot diameter grove, if that's what you have, of a 20-foot tall bamboo, then becomes like a 70-foot root zone, because you've got 20 feet here, 30 feet under the grove, and another 20 feet of root zone on the other side. So, you've got to plant and plan for your bamboo per your growing conditions and per the space you can give it. And the larger species of bamboo really require, in my opinion, a good 300 square feet to grow to any of their potential at all, because bamboo grows according to its footprint. Now, if I come over here to a large species like Phylostachy saturvaginata over here, incense bamboo, and say it can get 35 to 40 feet, likewise the root zone from the edge of the grove will be from the edge of the grove outward just as long as the tallest culm is high. So if I measure this off from the edge of this grove, bear with me here a minute. Here is 10 feet, 20, 30, 40. Now I've only got just the one pole laid out here, so you'll have to imagine it's a straight line back to the grove. But if this reaches 40 feet or thereabouts one day, I got to back up even further. Right there would be its root zone all the way around that little grove. If that grove should reach 35 to 40 feet, that would be a straight line back to the edge of that grove. So, and as this grove increases in height, so too does your root zone extend in length. So you'll have all this that you would have to keep mowed off of shoots, so that then this root zone doesn't extend on out. And I think that is something that unfortunately a lot of people miss and don't calculate for, because they think of bamboo as being a narrow, slender, upright plant. And while each individual culm is narrow and upright with relatively short branches as opposed to a tree. Again, bamboo is not a tree, it's a grass. This is a culm. Here, again, this individual part of this plant is narrow and upright, but that is not the entire bamboo plant. This, where I was backed up to and showing this entire grove a minute ago, this is the entire bamboo plant, because all of that is one plant and it's interconnected by rhizomes. Each culm is connected to another. It's daisy chained, for lack of a better example or way to put it. So no, you cannot grow a large timber species in a little confined space. You need room for it because it's a big plant. It's a very big. And if you want to contain it with a root barrier all the way around the grove, all sides, in a circular, complete circle, you could do that. But if you don't and you maintain it by mowing, then you get that eventual, 30 plus foot, like I showed out there in the yard a little bit ago, root zone in a circle all the way around the entire grove. So when you plant a large species like this, or species that becomes large or has the potential to, you have to allow for that root zone, because like I said a little bit ago, you have a 20-foot tall grove with that's 30 feet in diameter, and then you also got a 20-foot root zone each side. That 30-foot diameter grove then has a 70-foot diameter root zone. So if this gets 40 feet tall, you have 40 feet on this side, 40 feet on that side. That's 80 feet of just empty root zone for mowing, not counting what is under the grove itself. So if you have another 40 feet underneath the grove, that is a 120-foot diameter root zone for a large timber species of bamboo, because you have 40 feet over here, you got 40 feet under the grove, you got 40 feet over there. Now, if you only had a 30-foot grove, then of course you'd only have like a 110-foot root zone, if I'm adding that right in my head. But still, it's big. it's a big bamboo, and that's the point of me showing this, because I want to illustrate just how big these bamboos can get and how much space they can take to maintain and grow to a reasonable size. Because, you know, like I said a little bit ago, bamboo grows according to its footprint. If you take a bamboo like this and you confine it in a barrier, you know, a couple things could happen. You know, it might, you know, become pot bound in that barrier, it might burst the barrier, or it's definitely not going to grow to its maximum potential. So you have to allow for that. I mean, you can put a barrier in for the big timber species, but it had better be a big spot. I mean, you're going to need, you know, 30, 40 feet anyway. So that has been a look at calculating root zones for bamboo. Again, applying to if you don't use a barrier, if you maintain it by mowing, because you'll have shoots come up, you know, in the lawn within that root zone. And however tall your grove is, and like I say, you know, as the grove gains height, so too the root zone gains distance out under the lawn. But anyway, I hope you found that useful. And if you liked the video, please like, subscribe, and share. I'd really appreciate it. And until next time, thank you for stopping by, and take care. Bye.